Howdy everyone, this is Trisha and welcome to my channel. Today I will show you how I created this decoupaged Easter egg wreath. Now I purchased all my supplies from Hobby Lobby, but you can pretty much find similar items at other craft stores, including the Dollar Tree. So let me show you what the supplies are. I will be starting off with a 19-inch floral foam wreath. And I've decided to use these white plastic Easter eggs. You can choose them in colors. I chose white because I am going to decoupage and I don't want the color to show through when I decoupage them. That is your choice. Now you will be needing anywhere from 24 to 36 plastic eggs. Aside from the white plastic eggs, I also chose these smaller eggs. These are speckled eggs. I like the way they look, so I'm going to use them as is. Of course, you can decide that you want to decoupage them as well. To decoupage, I have chosen to use tissue paper, as you see here. I also have a package of some pretty little printed napkins. They are paper napkins, like this. Now these are 2-ply napkins, so what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to separate this white ply from my printed ply before I use it. I will be using some ribbons, so here I have 2 sizes of ribbon. I want this one to insert between the eggs, and I would like to make a bow, so I grabbed this wider ribbon. And to also fill the spaces between my eggs, I will be using some raffia and some moss. This is a beautiful light green moss. You can use the regular dark green moss or a Spanish moss. To decorate my wreath, I'm also going to be using this cute little nest with some speckled eggs inside, a nice little wooden sign with a pretty message on it, and these 2 little bunnies. You can choose whatever type of decorations you want to insert into your wreath. And to decoupage, I will be using Mod Podge. You can use a white glue. I will also be needing a brush to apply that, scissors to trim and cut my tissue paper, and I'm going to be needing my hot glue gun with lots of glue sticks to glue on my eggs to my wreath. Now I may have left a few items, so I'll just mention them during the video. So let's get to crafting. Alright, so because I have chosen to decoupage my eggs, I am cutting my little tissue papers into tiny little squares. I tried doing it with a bigger square that was about 1 inch by 1 inch, and I felt like it was too big, so I ended up cutting them even smaller, like these little bits here. And I have decoupaged some already so that you can look at what it looks like. And as you can see, it has a very wrinkled look, which I happen to like because I feel like it gives it some texture. Here's the pink. And then the one with the floral napkin, or if you use a tissue paper with a print. Alright, so this is an idea of what it will look like so that you can decide if you want to do this process. Otherwise, just get yourself some already decorated eggs and skip this part and get to the next point where we will decorate the wreath. Alright, so like I said, if you use napkins, usually they're 2-ply. So what I do is I just open up the napkin, and as you can see here, part of it's already coming apart. Sometimes you kind of have to work at it to pull it apart, but just remove the one layer. We won't need that. All we need is this part right here. So now my napkin happens to have a little silver edge here. So all I'm going to do is just going to trim that off because I won't need that. Just like that. Just remove it. And then I'll just start cutting my little bits of napkin. And then I just start cutting strips like this. They're about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. And then just cut out your little squares like that. And then of course you want to just separate them a bit. This is still attached. Super easy. Make a bunch of these and we're ready to decorate. Alright, so now it is time to decoupage the eggs, and it is super easy to do that. It just takes a little bit of time, so you just need a little bit of patience. I've gone ahead and I poured some of the Mod Podge glue in this little coffee filter, so I thought it was a great way to use those. And I've also set up my little table here with something that I can protect my actual table that I'm working on. And then I'm using these little painter sticks to create these little railings so that my eggs don't roll around and they stay still while they're drying. So let me tell you what I did. I grab some Mod Podge. It's super easy. And just apply it kind of lightly. Spread it out as evenly as you can. And then just press down the little bit of tissue paper once you lay it down. I use the same brush to pick up another piece of tissue paper. And then I just stick it down. And it makes everything go a little bit nicer, a little bit faster. And what I do is I only cover like 2/3 of the egg and then leave the bottom 1/3 undone, such as this one right here. I left this part undone so I can put that down and let it dry. Once it's dry, I can lift that up, put on my Mod Podge, pick up my tissue paper, which I have over to the side over here, this green one, and then I just finish off that little bit and let that dry. And it doesn't take too long to dry. I would put a little fan on it and let that allow it to dry. Try not to put too much Mod Podge on there because you're holding it with your fingers. As soon as you feel your fingers like sticking on there, stop, put down your little egg, let it dry a little bit, and then continue with decorating it. That is one of the little tricks that I learned. So I'm going to continue doing this one. And here's some Mod Podge right there. Add some right there. And it gets all wrinkled up as I go around curves especially. I don't mind that. I like that texture that it creates. All right, so as I was saying, so once your fingers start getting sticky, you don't want to have them on the tissue paper because they will lift up the tissue paper and tear it. So once you start feeling your fingers getting a little sticky, put down your little egg, let it dry a little bit, go wash your fingers off, dry them off, and come back, start another egg, and then just continue on with the ones that you left behind on, like this one, for example. I just got to finish it off right here. And then if you want, you can look at all your little eggs once you've finished them and decide if you have a spot, like for example right here, that didn't get any coverage. So grab a tissue paper, cover that up. Or if you feel like the tissue paper that you're using, if you're using a solid like I'm using here, is not enough coverage, then give it another layer. But that is it, super simple. I'm going to finish these off. I've got 24 done once I have finished these. And we'll see if I need any more. Like I said, 24 to 36 eggs. I do have another 12 set aside in case I might need them. But for now, 24. And I'll be back once those are done. All right, so the first thing I want to do to my foam wreath is I want to add a ribbon where I want to hang it from. So I'm just going to measure about how much I need. And then I'm just going to knot the little ends together. Just like that. And therefore now I have something where I can hang it from. Alright, so I've gone ahead and put some hot glue right there just so that my ribbon does not move from this location. And then I've got two little decorations right here that I want to put on my wreath. And I can decide, maybe I want to hang this one from here, but I decided that I want it on the side over here. So I'm actually going to remove this little string. And now I'm going to hot glue that right onto here. Now the reason that I'm putting these items first before I put on the little eggs is because I don't want to put all the eggs on here and then find out that I didn't leave enough space for these. And of course I don't want these on top of the eggs because I don't want them popping out too high. So I'm going to glue these on first, as I'm going to also glue this little nest right here. Alright, so I'm going to let that dry really well before I move it and add the little eggs onto it. Okay, so I'm going to start by adding all the larger eggs onto my wreath. Just adding some hot glue. And then I'm just going to randomly place them all around my wreath. I'm going to start off with these green ones. continue adding all the eggs till I have most of this filled up. Now you'll notice that I'm not putting them all right in the middle. Some of them are a little bit off to the side. I'm not going too far down or too far down on the outer edge or on the inner edge, because I'm going to put moss and I'm going to put some raffia. So hopefully that'll cover that. And don't worry about little spots in between, because that's where we're going to use our smaller eggs. And we're going to use raffia moss also to fill in those little spots. So just start filling in your whole wreath. Okay, so I have decorated 24 eggs, and this is the coverage that I've gotten. So I do have another package because I did get 3 packages of 12, which is 36. So I think I'm going to decorate a couple more eggs, or maybe 4 or 5, because I think I want another one right here, 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 and maybe right here. So I'm going to do that, and I'll come back once I have them decorated and placed on my wreath. Just make as many as you feel like you're going to need to fill up your whole wreath. And then I'll start by adding these smaller ones in between and on top. Now, if you notice, when I was placing some down, I also put some glue like in between to touch with the other 2 eggs that were already on there. I did that so that I can make sure that they're not just stuck to the wreath, but they're also stuck to each other. That gives it a nice extra hold. But it looks really pretty already. I can put some moss in here as it is, but I feel like I do need a couple more, or 3 or 4 eggs more, to make this a little bit more full. Alright, so now I'm just taking the smaller eggs and then just placing them somewhere in the middle of the other ones, just to kind of fill in those little spaces in between. I'm not worrying about which direction they're going. Alright, so I'm going to finish putting all the rest of these. I only have a few more to put on here, and we'll be back with the next decoration. Alright, so next I am taking some raffia, just some little bits like that. And then I'll just take one of the pieces, or a couple of pieces, and tie it around the rest of them. And just make little bundles like this, as many as you want. And then I fold them in half like that, and trim whatever you feel like you want to trim. You could leave them all bushy. And as you can see here on my wreath, I've already added some. So all I'm doing is putting some glue right where I knotted it, and then just tuck it in. There we go, just like that. So you want to start filling in some spots. I'm going to work my way over the top here, go all the way around to the other end, and then I'll do some on the inside as well. Alright, so next I'm going to make these little bits of ribbon. I've cut about 4 to 5 inches of ribbon. Just a nice thin ribbon of your choice. This is the same one that I used to make the loop where I'm going to hang it. And I'm just trimming the little ends at a little bit of an angle. You can do them straight or do like little dovetails. So now what I did is I knotted them in the middle, as you saw. So I grabbed one and then knotted it, try to center it, and cut again. And this is as many as I could get out of my green ribbon. I didn't have much left, but that's what I'm going to use. So I've already put one in here in this little corner right there. And now I'm going to insert the rest of these into my wreath. And I'm actually going to use a little popsicle stick to kind of help me push the ribbon in, so that I can also make sure that I, when I pull on these, I don't pull it all the way out. I just want to make sure that the little ribbons are popping out. All right, so I'm just going to continue adding these in different places. Spread the ribbon out. All right, so as you can see, I put all the little ribbons on my wreath here. And as you saw, I also have all my raffia done, and I've tried to hide as much of the styrofoam on the sides and on the inside edge here. So I stick on my ribbon here where I can hang it from. This is the top. And now I'm going to add some of this moss, and I'm going to add it in just like I did the little bows. I'm going to add a little bit of glue on there, and then I'm going to use a popsicle stick to push it into the little crevices. So I'm going to start over here and start looking for little crevices, and I can see something right there. So just a little glue on there, and then just push it. You don't have to push it too far in, just so that it glues onto something. So that pretty much glued onto the side of my little nest there, and I think I want to add some more right over on this end, and I'll just keep adding wherever I feel like I'd like some. I like the color of this moss, it's so pretty. Anywhere where I can see the styrofoam peeking through. Alright, so that's what I'm going to continue doing. And then I just have a couple more things that I want to do. Alright, so now I'm just going to make a little bow, a little handmade bow with some of this thicker or wider ribbon, I should say. And I'm just going to make it very easy, like that, very simple. Okay, got a pretty little bow. This is the ribbon where it's going to hang from at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and just hot glue it right about right here. I could glue it on the little knot, but this is going to end up turning like that to hang on something, and I don't want the bow to get twisted. So I'm going to glue it on to right there. So I need to get this ribbon right there. Poof up my bow. And I'm just going to let this dry. Alright, so now I've got this little wooden bunny, and I have two of them, but I decided to just use one. And my wreath looks really pretty, so let me see. Let me center this. This is the top up here. So this is the center. I'm going to put this little bunny right here. So I'm going to put plenty of glue. Stick them right to that little egg there. And I'll just let all this hot glue dry, and that's it. Alright, so I have completed my decoupaged Easter egg wreath. Now, if you don't want to decoupage it, like I said, you can get your eggs already in the colors that they are, or some of them are decorated. You can find them pretty much everywhere, and most of your craft items, you can find them in like Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Walmart, Dollar Tree, even Dollar General has some craft supplies. So you want to look there and make your own interpretation of this wreath. So there we go. I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up, and I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up and follow me on Trisha's Creations on Facebook Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so. Just hit that red subscribe button, and then after that will be a little bell. That is your notification bell. Go ahead and hit that too, and you get notified of when I put up my videos, which is twice a week. I hope that you enjoyed this. Please share the love. Please be kind and respectful towards each other. Share this on your social medias, and as always, enjoy.